Hey everyone, welcome. So great to see you again, Manny, as always.
Happy Thursday, Francisco. Thursday before the big break, Thanksgiving here in the US.
yeah, yeah, we're excited to see everyone today. We've had a lot of launches this week, and like so many launches that like we're just like, you know what? Let's keep it a little bit more on the general side today. We're going to cover some some of the basics, and I think over the next few weeks we'll be covering a little bit more about that. But it's been amazing to see everybody's incredible demos, incredible kind of just like landing pages people are creating with new design mode. I can't talk about too much about things right now, but there's a couple more releases happening this week. There's been a couple of little, I don't know, teases here and there from various members of the team. So keep an eye out there. But again, so excited to have you all here. I'm Francisco Cruz Mendoza, head of community, here with Manny, who is a big Replit ambassador and soon to be a little bit closer to the Replit family. So very excited to share more about that soon in the future. On that note, I just wanted to thank everyone who's been really just hosting events globally. We had events over the weekend in San Francisco, at Y Combinator, at Berkeley, our school of um, the MBA school, along with some other AI tech summits. So thank you so much for the invitation. We had an event in Sydney on Tuesday. I believe it's Tuesday, maybe it was Wednesday their time. That was a fun, chance to get to know everybody. We have events coming up in Singapore, one here in Replit headquarters. There'll be some more information coming very, very soon, and a couple other places in Latin America. So Replit is coming to you very, very soon. And of course, we encourage everybody to join the discourse, kind of one of our closer communities. I'll post a little bit more information there. And it's been absolutely amazing to see some of the people just wanting to be part of the ambassador program. I connected with Elizabeth, Cognito Coding, and a few others who have been, regulars on the stream here. So anyways, just happy to see you all again. Thank you so much for joining us. And I'll pass it on over to Manny.
Two things, Francisco. Where in Latin America and how do I get a ticket?
Yeah, absolutely. We're actually thinking
I'm
about
volunteering to host events in Latin
yeah.
America, depending on the place. But if you're going to Mexico, Argentina, Brazil.
Yeah, no, we've had a lot of volunteers for Latin American events, which I think we're going to be going in person at some point soon. The first couple that I'm having conversations right now are in Rio de Janeiro in Brazil, Sao Paulo, Brazil, and also Lima, Peru. So yeah, very excited to be getting kicked off there pretty soon.
Awesome. Yeah. And I echo what Francisco said. It's great to meet some of you. Some of you like Cognito Coding. I've gotten to connect with on LinkedIn, on X. So it's nice to put a face to an actual name. So definitely keep connecting with us on LinkedIn, on an X. And if you reach out to me on LinkedIn, it's helpful if you add a message saying like, "Hey Manny, I'm from the
Yes,
stream. Here's
yes.
here's what I did. Here's what I chatted about," because I'm getting like so many like inbound requests. I don't know who's who. So that would be helpful.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yes. Please do. Yeah, because it's like people like add me on LinkedIn. I'm just like, I don't know who you are. And yeah, Cognito Coding was one of them. And I was like, I'm Cognito Coding. Like, oh, it's so great to meet you. So yeah,
Accept right
absolutely.
away.
Wow.
Bam.
A- yeah, a lot of people from Latin America here. It's really, really great to see Peru, Mexico, Argentina. Oh,
Oh,
New Zealand. Yes.
Colombia,
Wow.
Bogota. Wow. We might have to do a Spanish version of this show, Francisco. How's your Spanish, dude?
Ah, ahí vamos. Un poco a poquito. Podemos hablar un poco. A ver cómo le hacemos.
Poco. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
translate everything into Spanish, like vibe coding.
Yeah.
How would you say that in Spanish? Okay. So maybe in 2026 we'll do a Spanish version.
Yeah. That would be awesome. I mean, yeah, there's enough of us who speak enough Spanish. So hopefully soon.
Awesome. Very neat. So I'll kick things off. Thank you everybody for joining us today. We're doing something a little bit different today. We're going to walk you through building your very first app, talking and working with AI. If you've been following me on LinkedIn, I think vibe coding or building custom applications and workflows with AI is going to be the essential skill for 2026 and moving forward. I've just seen enough of these examples that blow my mind of people from traditionally non-technical backgrounds building really cool things, and also organizations that are really hungry for people that can build their own custom applications and workflows with AI. And I see two different trends that are coming together for individual contributors, for individuals, the ability to make your life easier. So if you have a tedious task that you don't like doing, you can vibe code a custom tool to make that much more simpler. If you want to express yourself, if you want to showcase your work in a very interesting and cool way, you can now vibe code your own application with AI. If you want to impress your boss, if you want to impress your team, you can vibe code custom tools that helps out the team. So much potential for individuals to level up with AI, with vibe coding. I'm also seeing it on the organizational side. There are teams are running leaner than ever. They need people that can wear multiple hats and people that can do multiple things. And if you're someone that can, in addition to doing your particular function of marketing, legal, and HR, can also build custom tools and workflows, people are just begging you to come in. And also, I'm seeing, I talk to entrepreneurs and small business owners, and they're now looking to hire specifically for vibe coders. I talked to a buddy of mine who runs a somewhat large organization. He's like, I'm trying to get a vibe coder indoors. And I'm like, wait, you mean like a software engineer? He's like, no, I want a vibe coder because I want somebody that can go to different departments and build custom tools for everybody. And so for individual contributors, vibe coding is a big deal. For organization, it's a big deal. And so I am continuing to hit this point that vibe coding and building with AI is going to be the essential skill for you to build in this coming year. And what really hit this home for me is a couple of months ago, I was chatting with one of our Replit users, and he was telling me about his job search. He was looking to transition into a new space, and he told me how he used Replit and vibe coding to stand out in the crowd. This is Shane. Check this out.
Yes, that's an interesting story. I was trying to pivot into ocean tech, and I didn't have a background in this domain. And so when a job opportunity became available, I knew I needed to differentiate myself some way from the rest of the applicants. And I wanted to come to my first interview with a project that was exciting that I could speak to. And so I started building this marine or maritime shipping calculator. And I don't need to get into the details, but essentially it allows these big freighter transoceanic shipping companies to calculate the amount of spend they have annually on their fleet of ships. One of the products at our organization at so far, the company I was interviewing with, helps ships optimize their routes, a Google Maps type experience. And this calculator essentially took the total cost of current operations, applied a calculation based on the amount of money and emissions that the Wayfinder tool was providing to its customers, and provided somebody really with a really interactive, easy experience to simulate essentially how much money they could save if they use Wayfinder, Sofar Ocean's maritime shipping application. I brought that into the interview and was invited back for a conversation with the CEO. The project got bubbled all the way up the ladder, and he was extremely excited to hear about it and dig into the weeds, which is a little bit surprising. But it was the first time I had realized kind of the ease in which you can go from idea to a really valuable asset. And that kind of triggered a series of projects now that I'm working at the company that I've been fortunate enough to have support on and been able to pursue. And I just get more excited, it seems, with each project that I'm able to take on.
Awesome. So that's Shane. And, that was a couple months back. When I heard that, I was like, yes, absolutely. Like, think about going into an interview with a application already vibe coded and ready to go. Think about how much that moves you up the list. It's actually like a game changer. And I've seen like there are examples of like people sitting in meetings and like they're listening to a pitch from a company, and while they're listening to the pitch, they're vibe coding a brand new website for that company based on their feedback and their opinions, and showing it to the founder, to the owner, before the meeting is even done. So I think, again, vibe coding is going to be an awesome skill for you to have in your toolbox. And today, I would like to walk you through my process for vibe coding different applications. I've vibe coded maybe 50 different types of Replit apps. You can head over to my website and check them out. Everything from quizzes to games, to CRMs, vendor portals, you name it. I've vibe coded it. And I'm not a web developer by training. I'm not a software developer. I'm a former data scientist, so I know data analysis, but I'm not a programmer in a traditional sense. But I think what I have been able to do is to kind of figure out a standard process by which I get at working applications. And that's what I'd like to do today. We're going to start from zero. We're going to start from a basic idea and go to a prototype, add some additional features to our prototype and deploy our application. And I want to walk you through each one of those steps. Before we get started, however, I want to impress upon you this, that I think the only way you really learn is by doing. So if you haven't already, make sure you head over to Replit and set up your own account. It's free to set up, and you'll make a lot of progress on the free tier. So if that's what you want to do right now, that's totally fine. If you want to upgrade, this referral link that I'm dropping in here is going to give you $10 for your first month. So you'll pay 15 rather than 25. But whatever the case is, make sure you go to Replit and you try to follow along with me as much as possible during the stream. If you want to stay logged in during the stream, I totally get that. There's going to be a lot coming at you here. But if not, then immediately after the stream, set aside an hour or two to try to put into practice some of the things that we're talking about here. Because again, the only way, the best way to learn is by doing. That's like the surest way to learn. And you can hear me talk, for hours, but nothing's going to replace you actually getting in there and vibe coding your first application. All right. So, what I wanted to do today is I wanted to vibe code this demo that we did last week. That was kind of a hit with the chat. It was essentially a e-commerce tool that would help you craft or build or generate an ad for some merch. So I had a hat that I was looking to market and to advertise. And so I would upload the hat, and then I would get this nice image that I can then put into an ad campaign on Instagram, X, or on LinkedIn. So I demoed that last week as part of our AI integrations work. And this week I thought we'd build it from scratch, and I'll just take you through the process piece by piece. All right. So with that, let me take a look at the chat. Any comments that we want to?
Yeah, had a lot of questions around events around the world. One for New York City. Yes, we're aiming to have we have like a satellite office in New York City, so we're hoping to do a event early next year. So probably in January or February at the latest, we'll be hosting a community event. Again, for anyone that maybe missed it in the beginning, we're actually having a community event at the headquarters here in Foster City in about 2 weeks. So you can check that on the Luma calendar. It's now live. Feel free to check it out. It's very, very early on. A lot more information to come soon. Isanto also asked, do we have an ambassador program? We actually do. Right now, it's currently invitation only, but we're going to be opening it up for general applications in January of next year. If you're interested in learning more, feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn. I'll also be sending out a little bit of a form after this event. So anyone that was here and signed up for the Luma registration will get an email for more information where you can kind of like check it out and see if there's something that might be interesting for you. So yeah, check that out as well. And then yes, a lot more events to come into Brazil, asking some questions around Sao Paulo. Marcelo, who joined the team recently, is going to be a growth lead in Brazil. So I believe Sao Paulo and Rio de Janeiro is one of the kind of ones that are coming up very, very soon. But yeah, no, thanks so much for asking, everybody. I'm excited to meet you all very soon.
Awesome. Keep those questions coming. That's the nice thing about this being live. You can ask whatever question comes to mind. Okay, so with that, let's jump into it. Okay, so just a little bit of a precursor in terms of how I think about vibe coding that helps me kind of stay in the groove. Like vibe coding, I feel is like a bunch of highs and a bunch of lows. Like you're probably gonna see, like a brand new prototype pop up, and you're gonna be like, "Oh, that's gonna be amazing." Then you're gonna have some weird bug pop come up, and you're like, "Oh, that's kind of a little bit of a downer." Then it works, and then you have a new feature looks great, but then there's another bug, and then you're back on track until you're finally deployed something. So I just like to keep this in mind as I start any vibe coding project. It's a bunch of highs and a bunch of lows. You just got to ride out these waves to get to your shipped application. That's always something that I like to think about. Okay, so with that, let's start off. So this is what we're going to build. So we're going to build the ad creator app. And typically what I like to do is I like to start off with just a general prompt of what I'm looking for. And I like to describe that to Replit. So I might say something like, let me see, maybe make sure my transcription service is on. Oh, it was on, excuse me. All right, 1 second here. That's weird, it's not coming up. Okay, well, let me pull up so you don't have to. Okay, so it would be something like this. So I would drop this in. I would just, typically I would just speak this. I did this earlier today. Something to the effect of like a cool ad creator tool. I have a product like a hat, and I want to upload that image, and I want to create a custom ad from that using Google Gemini image generation model. I want you to give me options in terms of demographics. I also want you to give me options in terms of whether it's a standalone product image or on a person. And I also want you to give me options like, whether it's cool or hip. And that's, I'll speak that in a very sort of general term, like I'm trying to explain it to someone. And then I'll go to prompt optimizer here. This is actually really underappreciated in Replit. I'm going to hit this prompt optimizer here. And so Replit is going to take this prompt that I've given it, and it's going to flush it out a lot more and give me a little bit more detail. So now this is the optimized prompt. You can see here a lot cleaner, a lot less typos, and a lot more clarity. So web-based AI-powered advertisement creation tool using Google Gemini. Yes, yes. And here's the core features. And then here's some inspiration. Here's a style guide. And you can always change this as well. You can always go back to undo and have it run it again. And one thing that I will add here is that I wanted to add, make sure to use the AI, Replit AI integration from Google, just to make sure that it pulls that in. And I am in design mode. I'm going to switch over to build mode because I want us to go through the full build in this example. So let me switch over to that and start the chat. All right, very neat. So,
hey Manny, so sorry, yes. We're getting a lot of requests for the prompt. If you can maybe paste a prompt in the chat, just so folks kind of follow along and build together with us.
Oh, that's a great idea. Okay, so let me drop that in there.
Thank you so much.
It might be a little bit too big for the comment. Okay. Perfect. I will try to maybe put that. Can we put that maybe on? I'll put it on our Slack channel, Francisco,
sure.
And then maybe you can put it like on a Notion doc or something and share that with folks.
Absolutely.
As well. Okay, so now because I asked it to use the AI integration from Google, now it's asking me to approve it, and I'm going to go ahead and click yes. The nice thing about that is that I don't have to go to the Google Dev website to get an API key, set up an account, put in my credit card, and then bring that API key and bring it into my development environment. The API will be integrated into this application, and it'll just pass through to my Replit account. So I have that billing right there. So that's a really nice thing about the AI integrations. And we have AI integrations with OpenAI, OpenRouter, Anthropic, and Google our previous stream was all about that. So definitely check that out. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to start with design because I want to see how this is going to look. So I'm going to click on start with design and click into that. And now we're out of the planning process. Now we're in the building workbench or dashboard. So you're going to see here on the left-hand side, my conversation that I've had with Agent already. And this is where I can continue to have a conversation with Agent. Here is going to be my preview pane. This is where I'm going to see the front end as it starts getting built. And so let me, before I forget, drop that prompt into our Slack channel. So you've got that, Francisco, and then Francisco will make sure we can get that to you somehow. It's just a little bit too big for me to put it in the comments. And the one that I'm sending you is the one that's been optimized. So again, like I just speak into, or I just write out what I'm looking for, and I try to focus on the functional thing that I'm after. So if you go back to that, if I go back here to the initial prompt here, I'm trying to just explain to AI what it is that I want as a consumer, as a builder. And then, I have some preference around Google Gemini because I know that's a little bit of a faster model. But then I'm letting Replit Agent handle all the technical details because that's not my expertise. I don't know what types of languages you should be using, or maybe even what type of apps that Replit should be building. What I want to be really good at is describing the thing that I want to be built. And then I did the prompt optimizer, and then this is what I got. And then this is ultimately what I approved for Replit to start building. So just wanted to share that. And yeah, what you're seeing here is Replit Agent is now building out all of the scaffolding and all of the files for this particular application. This is the really neat thing about vibe coding. All of this is being built from scratch, specifically to what I want. And this is one way I think in which tools like Replit and vibe coding tools like Replit differentiate from your traditional node code applications. So if you've used other tools like Bubble, for example, you have this kind of click and drop type of UI, and you have these sort of templates. And the problem with that is that you have to follow those templates specifically. If you want something very custom or something very new, then sometimes that gets a little bit harder with those traditional no code tools. With vibe coding, you're building everything from scratch. So it gets very customizable. It gets very tailored to what you're looking for. And you can see here, Agent building out all of this custom code in real time. If you're new to vibe coding and to programming, you don't have to spend a lot of time here. But as your skill grows and you get more familiar with this, you're probably going to want to understand at least how this is set up. So if you have to make a quick change yourself without going through Agent, you can do that. But if you're a beginner, I say, you can just close it out. But just so you know where all the files are, they're going to be here. And the neat thing is that these are all files that you can take with you if you like. If you want to save these, if you want to add them to your GitHub, this is all the files that are powering this application. These are there for you to use. Okay, so as now you can see here, we have a nice front end coming together. Replit Agent is still working on putting this together, and we're going to give it a little bit more time, but you can start seeing some of the UI elements that are coming together here for our application. And let me take a moment to go through the chat. Any comments? Oh, okay.
Great. Yeah, I have a couple questions around the prompt. I'm putting in a link right now to a very quick Notion doc that'll have it in the proper kind of formatting and everything else. I noticed that folks are having issues reading that, but yeah, that should be good to go currently. And then let's see here. I had a couple of others that came through. Yeah, prompts are now in the chat as well. And here, I'll send some over here, Manny. Give me 1 second.
Yeah, great. I'll go to here. Meet's asking if Replit is free. It's free to use. You can go onto Replit and set up an account, and you get some pretty generous credits to start off with. And then if you want projects to be private, and if you want to do more building, then I recommend upgrading to the core plan, which is roughly $25 a month. But you have my referral link there, which is going to be $15 for the first month. But yeah, it's free to use. So go to Replit and start building. Definitely encourage you to do that. We have CPod asking, have you tried to put the exact same prompt into Replit, but tried different AI integrations, Gemini, OpenAI, Anthropic? That's a good question. Here's where my experience with AI models is coming into play a little bit. Before I answer that, let me just come back to this and prompt it so that it's building while we're chatting here. Okay, so now I have my front end here. Okay, so when you're thinking about building your own apps, there's usually two main categories that you're going to tackle, and I try to tackle them individually. You have your front end. That's what people are going to see. So when we deploy this app live, that's where people are going to go and check out. And then you have your backend. This is where all the logic is happening for your application, and then also where your data is being stored. You want these to be separated. You don't want it to make it easy for someone to come into your front end and get around in your back end for security reasons, for privacy reasons. And so I like to build them individually. And so here's my front end. Okay, that looks good, but none of this is going to be working because I don't have the back end functionality built out. But it looks good enough right now. I could change some stylings on this. It'd be fine. But what I try to get to is I try to get to a working prototype as fast as possible. I want to be able to upload an image and get out an image. And, even if it's not the most stylish or perfect, like I just want that to be functional. That's like my number one checkpoint that I want to get to. So that looks good. Now I'm going to say, yeah, that looks good. Let's switch over to build functionality. And so now that I've approved the front end, Replit Engine is going to go and build out all the back end necessary to support this application. So if I have to upload an image, where is that going to get stored? If I have to send the API call to Google Gemini, what's the structure for that? How is that being sent out? How is it being received? How is it being showcased? Replit Agent is going to go and build all of that. Okay, so back to questions and this will be building for a bit, Francisco. So if you have any other additional questions, feel free to bring them up. Yes, CPod. Okay, here's where my just familiarity with AI models comes into play. Like there's like maybe 300 different models that you can choose from when you're building and you're trying to interweave AI into your application. I just like Google's Gemini models a little bit more for these types of things because they're a little bit faster and they're good enough. Like if I was looking for like a really good image, then I would go with OpenAI's DALL-E model generator because I find that those images tend to be the best, and also they most closely resemble the prompt that I feed into it. The problem is that they take a long time. Like I can generate like 10 Google Gemini images in the time that it takes me to generate one DALL-E image. So if I was like maybe the way that I would do it, I would have like the user be able to go through many different types of images generated by Google Gemini, and then like have like the final one be like, oh, you like this one, and like maybe send that final prompt to OpenAI to have it be the final deliverable, something like that. So that's why I went with Google Gemini. Anthropic doesn't have an image generator, so it wouldn't be an option for them. If you were doing like a writing tool or something, then you would use Anthropic, but they don't have an image generator. So it's either you're going to use OpenAI or you're going to use Anthropic. Or OpenAI, you're going to use Google, and then Grok has a really good image generator as well that you can potentially use as well.
Awesome. A lot of questions around prompts in general. So I kind of just brought this one up from Mark here. How structured should the prompts be? Is there a more traditional approach that works better, e.g. Create PRD, Figma, etc.?
You're going to get a lot of opinions on this. For me, it kind of depends on the build that I'm after. If I have a kind of a build that is pretty unique and pretty specific and pretty tough, I will spend a lot more time on the prompt and flushing it out. So I might go into Claude, and say like, give me a detailed prompt for a customer support portal for Replit. And so I might go into a tool like Claude and flush this out and figure out like exactly what I'm looking for. What type of databases do I need? What type of text should I go after, and just flush it out, and then like spend some time here, just getting like nailing all the different features that I want, and then finally getting the final prompt, and then going into Replit and having Replit build it. And so I think if it's a very complicated build like the one that I did for Notion, I won't show it to you, but it's pretty complex, then I would spend a lot more time on the prompt itself. That said, I think for 80% of your builds, and maybe a good jumping off point is exactly where I started. You saw me do it live. I went into the prompt here, and I pretty much just I was focused on the functional thing that I wanted. I want an ad creator tool. I want to be able to upload a image of merch, and I want you to generate an image of an ad, and then put that in there, and then have Replit optimize that prompt and just go. I would start off there for most of your builds, because you're going to find that this is going to cover 80% of your use cases, this technique that I just explained for you. And then in the instances where you're not getting a good build or prototype, then that's when I would consider doing a lot more research. The other thing is that I would say is like, if you have, okay, so I just got a little bell from Replit. It says that it's done. Awesome. Okay. So it's a nice thing. Like I was on another tab, and it gave me a little bell saying that, hey, it needs my attention, which I love. So I would say start off with that. Keep it easy on yourself. Really like, it's kind of difficult to know what you're gonna get until you actually start putting in some cycles. So I say try that approach. Keep it simple. Focus on the functional thing that you want. Make sure you're using the prompt optimizer here in Replit, and then try to build. And if you get stuck, then try to, the other technique that I mentioned around like spending some more time with Claude or ChatGPT, just kind of talking about it and fleshing out all of the details. The other tidbit that I would give you here is that if you want a very specific design or style, you can put in a lot of detail here in this prompt. So there's like, let me zoom in here. There is an attachment button here. And here you can add screenshots, and you can also add big blocks of text. So if, like, for example, in the past, I've replicated a calculator, and I've just taken all of the HTML for that, and I've dropped it into the Replit prompt, and I say, hey, here's what I want to be able to duplicate. Help me do it. Just recently, I did a big thread on Replit's new design mode, and I'll drop this here as well so you can check it out. My boys got a kick out of this, by the way. But so I was trying to replicate specific styles, and so for this, what I was doing is I was looking for references like this. I was saying like, okay, editorial luxury website example. And then I would look for images, and then I would just grab this, copy this, and then I would drop it in here and say like, okay, like see the image as a reference. That's what I want to be able to do. And you can see here, like I've got like this really, let me make it a little bit larger for everybody. I got, I have 7 websites that I put together. These are personal portfolio website options. This is very like chic. This one's pretty fun. This one is like kind of cool. It's got like the divider thing. This is a little bit more chill. It's got some cool interactions. So check out the thread for all of those examples. And here I was very specific about the design that I was after. And those cases, I will drop the images, and I'll be a little bit more detailed about the design that I'm going after before actually building. But all these, and this was all in design mode, all of these were one-shotted. Like I just put in one prompt and boom, I got this like in 5 minutes. Pretty crazy. And like it's already like, it's got Manny Bernabe here. I was just like completely blown away. Like this guy right here, this is like when I saw this, I was like, yeah, that's my reaction. Okay, so I want to get to more questions, but before that, I want to also get this build moving along so we can start making progress on this. Okay, so now I have my front end, I have my back end. Now I'm gonna test this. I'm not expecting this to work. Like an app this complicated, like I'm expecting bugs, like it's fine, but like I want to test it and see if it actually does what what I think it's supposed to do. And if there are bugs, then I want to go and I want to try to address them. So I have my front end, have my back end. This should all be working. Let's go test it out and let's see. Where did I park that? Let me take a moment to find my hats. One second.
Yeah, and one thing I'm seeing a lot of things pop up here about the new free for a limited amount of time. It's in Boo Boo. Yes, this is great. I will be very honest with everyone here, and this is not planned. This is not some sort of shenanigan. I wasn't sure if we were going to do that or not, and it very much felt like a kind of like a rogue thing that some of the folks were doing here internally at Replit. But yes, this is true. We just launched during the stream fast mode, which is one of the fastest ways to do edits on your projects and everything else. And for a limited amount of time, when you're building in fast mode or designing in fast mode, it will be free. I'm actually not too sure about the details for how long, because it was something that kind of popped up very, very recently. You can check out our socials, get a little bit more information. There's a blog post as well. But yes, it's something that we've been iterating. Like literally, I think a lot of the team was here until about 1 a.m. on Sunday night, working on design mode and fast mode. It was meant to, I think, push out next week, but given that we were able to do it a little bit quicker, we thought, why not send it out to everybody here? So yes, for a limited amount of time, it's completely free. There's a blog post has a little bit more detail there, but essentially, we've heard your feedback about it. Some of these taking too long, kind of build, and sometimes you just want a fast, iterative, prototype, something kind of like show during a meeting. A lot of times, some of the product managers are just like, hey, I have an idea, I'm putting something together, and I almost during the middle of a meeting, I want to create a prototype that I can showcase by the end of the call. And this is kind of your opportunity to be able to do that. So a lot more information to come here soon. But yes, I was not aware we were going to go and send this out live at this time. I believe it was going to be tomorrow. But again, Replit ships fast.
Breaking news. We're breaking news on the show now, Francisco. That's awesome. This team ships so fast. It's crazy. Like I have a harder time putting together content for all the stuff that this Replit team is shipping, and I just have a hard time keeping up with them. And they're building it from and deploying it. It's crazy.
Absolutely. Yeah. So yeah, feel free to check it out. Let us know how that's how it's working for you, and then probably again, we have so much coming out. I think there's more coming out this week, but we're going to be taking a little bit of a break next week. But the week after, we'll be coming back, and we'll be trying to do a little bit of a overview of what's coming out, what's happening, and everything else that's going live. But I'll pass it back to Manny here.
Very neat. Breaking news right there. I think the Replit team is just trying to keep us on our toes, Francisco. Breaking stuff in front of our right in the middle of our stream. Okay, so I was able to find my hat. And again, this is build mode. And if you've been following our stream the last couple of weeks, the idea is that everybody is now a builder. Even if you have come from a traditionally non-technical background, you are now a builder because of AI. The line between non-technical and technical is blurring and is going away. Everybody gets to build. And so I now have this hat around build mode. And now I want to get the word out and advertise it. So here's a hat. I'm going to choose standalone, any, and age, and then maybe cool. And then let's see. Again, I don't expect this to work on the first time. I think I'm going to get an error here. And then I'll probably grab that error, drop it into here, and have Replit agent debug it. That might happen a couple of times. That's okay. And it worked on the first time. That is awesome. Okay, that is really cool, and check that out. That's spot on. That my hat's right there, and really cool background. I think we need like a gong sound or something, Francisco, when these things happen.
Okay.
When things work on the very first go, we need like a celebration sound or something. Okay, let's test this out. So let's do it on person, female, and let's say 25. Yeah, sure. And let's make it professional. Let's see what we get there. Cool. All right.
Awesome. And yes, this live stream will be recorded. We'll be sending it out at the end. So anyone who RSVP'd to the Luma page will get an email after showcasing the live stream itself, and also it'll be on our YouTube channel. There's always a kind of a recorded live stream after. Also, getting a lot of feedback about subtitles. I'm so sorry. I was not aware that was turned off. So for the next stream, we'll be sure to make sure we have that kind of setting tweaked correctly. I don't think we've had that in the past, so maybe something shifted. We're updating our restream to kind of be able to present more fluidly and just kind of do a lot more here. So appreciate your patience. We'll be sure to kind of get that fixed for the next time.
Thank you. Yeah, very much. Yeah. Well, probably. Can you also tell us where you're watching the stream? Because it may be a platform-specific thing, Francisco. It's likely like either YouTube or X, where we got to turn on subtitles, or LinkedIn because I think YouTube will have real-time subtitles. But yes, thank you for that feedback. Appreciate it. Okay, so got this image here. Now it's not. See, here's my first error here. First error here is that it's cropping the photo. So let me just take a picture of this. I'm gonna screenshot this. I screenshot stuff all the time. I go into here and I'm going to actually start a new chat because I've completed this work of my initial MVP. So I have my first MVP up and running, or my first prototype up and running. That's really good. There's some bugs that I have to fix, like that, the fact that that's not bringing in the photo just right. But that's a good point. It's a good place to be. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to start a new conversation. So this is going to just kind of help the agent focus a little bit more on the task at hand. I don't want it to be so hyper focused on everything that it's done up until now. I want it to have almost like a fresh perspective on this. And so here I'll say something to the effect of, I'm getting this error where the image is coming in, but it's not being fully visible in the UI. Can you help me identify why this might be the case? For example, here's the image when I download it, but in the UI, it's getting cropped out. And then I'm getting this error. And then the other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go into plan mode. So you see here on the bottom left, you have a couple of different options for how to interact with agent. Up until now, we've been doing the build mode. And now I'm going to go into plan mode because I want agent to take some time to really consider this problem and think about what the solution might be. I'm also going to go into medium autonomy. I just find that's like the sweet spot for me. If I wanted to set this and forget it, so to speak, if I wanted to just walk away from it and go for a walk, I would set it on max. And I'm going to enable app testing. I'll show you what that does in a little bit. And then I'm just going to make sure I change this to plan mode and then drop that in there. And so now Replit agent is going to see that error and it's going to start thinking about, what is the error? Can it spot the error? And then what might be the plan of action to fix it? So we'll let agent cook on that for a little bit and we'll come back in just a moment. Let's take a look at the chat.
Yeah, a couple of good questions here. Yeah, I'll send them over here, Manny.
Yeah, for those with the laptop, can Replit be used 100% on mobile? Replit is very good on mobile. I've used it in two different ways on mobile. One, to kick off a build. So sometimes I have an idea, I'm like, hey, I would love this like micro app, and I'll go into my Replit app, and then I'll drop the prompt in there, and then I'll let Replit cook on it, and then like I'll check out on it later. And so if I have ideas, like almost like I'm taking notes as I'm on the road, I have ideas for apps, and now it's just fast for me to go in my Replit app and just start dropping the prompts in and let Replit build all of those individually. The really neat thing about Replit being cloud-based is that it can work on multiple applications and projects at once. So oftentimes I'm like, I'll go into one idea, I put the prompt in, I said go, then I'll spin up another prompt, and then like I'll have like 5 applications going at once. And so that's one way that I use the mobile app on the go. I want to put together like a quick app. I drop it in there. And then the other way that I really like to use mobile is when I walk away from my machine, like say I were to have set this on max autonomy and give it free reign to do whatever it felt like it was necessary, I would check in on the build as I'm like doing something else. So like if I'm on a walk, then I can check in on that build and see where it is, and either like ask it to make changes or to authorize certain things. So for example, like I'll drop like a big feature request, and then the agent might say like, hey Manny, like do you want me to use this integration? Like you saw me earlier approve it. Like I'll just approve it, like yes, use that integration. I'll say like, no, I actually want you to use the OpenAI integration, and then like approve that. And then Replit can continue to build. And so it's a great way to just like unblock Replit agent for minor things like that, like signing off on certain things and approving things. And then aside from that, like those are the two main use cases. I guess you could build on mobile, but I've got a mini here. I got a tiny screen. It would be very difficult for me to be building like this. And my vision's not that great. So it would be a little difficult for me. But if you've got a big phone, I think you can get pretty far on the mobile app. So try to tell me what works for you. Okay, let's see here. Let's see. Did we make this fix? All right. Okay, so it's asking me. So okay, it's asking for a clarification question. Okay, cool. So, would you like me to proceed? Yeah, fix it. Please proceed. Okay, so now that it has a plan, it it's just asking me if I wanted to proceed. I'm like, yeah, go ahead and proceed with that. So Replit agent will work on that, and I think to me it seems like a minor thing, so I don't think it's going to take too much longer in fixing that. I would imagine it's going to fix that in one go. So we've made really good progress. Like we're about 45 minutes in, and we have our first working prototype, and it's a pretty cool app. Like we're generating images from a custom prompt here. I think it's pretty cool. So if I look at our game plan for today, we talked about research, build mode. We talked about the prompt optimizer, our initial prompt. We talked about design mode. We did our front end. We did the back end. We have a functional MVP. So we've got a couple of other things that we want to work on, but I think I'm going to wait for Replit to fix this before working on those things. The next thing that I wanted to share with you is sort of my idea in terms of thinking about how to add to an initial build. So like, as I mentioned, I want to get to a functional MVP as soon as possible. And I want to keep it pretty minimal. And then after that, I want to think about what new additional features that I might want to add. So here, we talked last week about this, about adding things like a brand color picker. I thought it would be cool to add like multiple images at once. So like instead of me getting one image, I get 8 at one time, and I pick the best one. I think you can also add text overlays to the image, so you can have like 20% off for this week only or something like that. I think you can have like a custom logo on this. And so I'll take some time to brainstorm some ideas and say like, okay, it would be cool if this app did this or this app did that. Or I saw this really cool idea from another build and I want to incorporate it into this. And then I started thinking about what those are, and I started thinking about which ones I want to go after. And you can see it from here. This is what I'll like make this a little bit bigger, but this is one of my demos from a couple weeks back. I think this was demo number 3 for our Salesforce live stream. And you can see like how I break it out. Like I first try to get like the enrichment part down. Okay, now I need to get the AI score down. Then I have to get down the routing part. And then I have to pipe everything back into Salesforce. And so that to me is like kind of like how I've been doing these is like, I want to get that functional MVP up and running. And then I want to think about like, okay, like what is like the next most important feature to integrate? Let me plan. So I'll go to plan mode, give it the prompt. I'll have Replit agent build that out. And then I'll review the work and then I'll check everything, make sure it works. And then I'll go on to the next feature, the same process again, plan, build, test, plan, build, test until I get to my final demo. So let's check back in on Replit, and it looks like it's still fixing that. Okay, so Replit has some questions for me. So this is the kind of stuff that it would be nice to have on your mobile app. You can answer on your mobile app. So it says for the ad preview, which is more important? See the entire generated image without any cropping. Nah, I want to see the whole image. So let me click on that, send the agent. And so now agent is asking me for some feedback and like, yeah, no, I want to be able to see the whole image. I don't want to, I don't want it to be cropped out. So now agent has that feedback and is going to go and fix that. So in the meantime, let me see if there are any questions here. Yep, somebody asked about the referral code. Let me drop that in there again. That's in there. And again, that's going to give you $10 off your first month. Close that out. And Replit's building on that. And then after Replit's done fixing this, then I think we'll try to incorporate one of these new additional features. So I think last week people really wanted to be able to incorporate custom brand colors. I think having text overlay would be cool. I think having a custom logo on the ad would be cool. It's like the idea would be like I can upload my logo and then it would automatically put it on the ad for me. That I think would be cool. But let me know what you think would be helpful to add to this, and then we can think about maybe adding that as well. So we'll let that build for a bit, and then we'll continue to check out the stream here. But we're making steady progress. We've, this, it'll be a little faster, but I'm engaging with the chat here. But in less than an hour, I have a working prototype of a pretty cool app. And so I think we're making really good progress here. So let me, there's a question here. Is there a use case for using assistant versus an agent? So assistant, for everybody's reference is like, think of it as like, I would consider almost like a ChatGPT within Replit. It was the first AI integrated into Replit, and it's really good. It was really good for asking questions like, hey, can you tell me about my code base? What should I do? And it'll look at the code base and it'll respond to in that context, but it won't make any changes to your code base. It will suggest changes, but it's more like back and forth. So it's a little bit slower. But I found I don't use Assistant at all anymore. I just use Agent. And in particular, if I need to ask a question, I'll go into plan mode. So I know there are some folks that still use Assistant, but I would say it's probably I would just use Agent. And if you have a question that you want to ask of AI, just use the plan mode in Agent rather than Assistant. Amy said, I'm going beast mode. Fast mode is crazy fast, isn't it? Oh my gosh. While that's building, let me show you what I built just yesterday. This is okay. So, yeah. So here's my portfolio right now. I'll go to Manny Bernabe. This is also vibe coded in Replit, by the way. Okay, I do a lot of content, so I want to show this off, but not the most engaging. I think it'd be a little bit cooler. I don't know. So I went into design mode with Replit. And again, that if you go to Replit here and you go into design mode, you can drop something in here and it's wicked fast. So like I built out these different websites. And the cool thing is that all of these are shipped. So if you go into that thread, these are working websites. This is the really neat thing about Replit is that not only can you build it fast, but you can ship it like really, really fast. And I put these 7 like in under an hour. I was able to put it together. It actually took me longer to write the tweet, to do this video, and do the screen records than it actually took me to build the 7 portfolio websites. Isn't that crazy? That's so crazy to me. So yes, definitely check out design mode. Design mode in Replit. Yeah, definitely check it out. It's so good and it's wicked fast. And I would just start dropping in your prompts in there. And that technique that I showed you earlier, where you would get like a website. So let me see. Let me see like fun, goofy website. Okay, so let me show you this. So images. I don't know. Okay, so let's try to do this. And then let me go to Claude and we'll go a little off script here. Describe this style of website. Okay, so let Claude click on that. And then let me go back to, okay, cool. So it says that it fixed it. Let's double check. You know, sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. So on person, female, let's go this here, and then cool, professional. One other thing that I would fix is like it shouldn't be multiple age groups. I think it should just be one, and it shouldn't be multiple styles. But we'll generate ad, and if we get an error, we might get an error here, but that's that's okay. We'll just grab that error, drop it back into agent, and let agent cook. So while that's doing, let's go back to Claude, and then let's see like okay, cool. So retro style, okay, cool. So awesome. So let's go back to here and let's go to design mode and say like a content creator portfolio website in this style. Drop that in there. Go to prompt optimizer. And let's see what we get here. And then it's going to take a little while here. Okay, cool. Retro. Okay. Okay, cool. And then it doesn't have anything for Manny. Okay, so say like for Manny Bernabe, content creator and vibe coder. Okay, so then let's start. That's design mode. Let's let that cook. And then let's go back here. And hey, look, it fixed. Very neat. It fixed. So now we see it's still scrolling. I don't want it to be scrolling, but I think that's okay for now. So, but now I can see the full image here. And again, here is my build mode hat. Okay. So we've got a working prototype, some bugs to figure out, but I think it's good enough for me right now. Now I want to go and add a feature to this. So we talked about earlier, what would be cool to add? I think one cool thing to add would be like, I want to see multiple images. So if I go here, okay. So so now I'm going to start a new chat. And again, because it's a new feature, I want to do a new chat and I'm going to go into plan mode. So again, it's idea, plan mode, chat, let Replit agent come up with the plan and let Replit agent execute. And then I check the work. That's pretty much the cycle that I'm going through. So we can say something like, I would really like to be able to see multiple generated images. So for one prompt, and configuration like a person and gender and age group and style, I want 8 different variations to be generated, and I want it to show up in a grid-like fashion, so I can see multiple options at once, and then pick the one that I like the best, and then download that one. Okay, so again, if you notice, I'm describing the functional thing that I want. I'm not trying to get all technical and saying like, oh, I need you to lay it out in this grid or do this. I'm saying what I want from it. And then I'm saying like, okay, drop that in there. It's in plan mode. And now agent is going to figure out the technical details and ask me for clarifying questions to get me what I want. So let's let agent cook on that. And let's go back to this and let's see. Look, this is okay. So this is a Pixar arcade portfolio here. And here's a prompt. If you notice, it just went. And look, it's generating images for this website. How cool is that? Okay, so again, this is the reference. So let's open this in a new tab. So we have this as reference. Blow that up. This is the reference, retro, kind of cool. And now if I see this, I'm like, hey, I would like a website that is in line with the style. You just saw me do that. And now Replit building this out. Whoa, wait a minute. This is kind of wild. Might give me a headache here. Okay, cool. But this is it's still built. Okay, cool. So it's all right. So it's very flashy. So let's go back here. All right. So okay, so now back to our ad creator app. I'm sorry if this is confusing me going back and forth to different apps. I apologize for that. I hope you can stick with me. But again, this is why I sometimes go like on 4-hour vibe coding binges because I've got like multiple apps that I'm looking at. I'm like, okay, I do this, then do that. Like I'm managing like an army of app builders, and it's like so addictive. Okay, so now here I have Replit agent and says like, okay, here's what I think I should do. I should generate 8 image copies. Yes, change the data setup. Yep. Okay, cool. Looks good to me. Start building. Okay, cool. Now let me go back to this and say like, okay, that's I mean, it's there, but let me just add some additional commentary here. It's flashing a lot, and the flash is a little distracting. Can you tone that down a little bit? Okay, so we'll let agent work on that. But as an initial prototype, that I think that might work. I'll give rid of the flashing, but you can see like the retro elements. You can see like the floating question marks in the background. We can add more of that, but like it's hitting the style, and it hit really, really fast. So, all right. So I've got my 2 builds that are happening. Now I think we can look at the chat and see if there's anything in the chat that we want to address.
Yeah, I'm getting a lot of questions around fast mode. So yes, it's currently out. I believe it is incrementally rolling out to everybody currently. The last time I'm checking in the back end, I'm like trying to jump in between screens here. It looks like as of about an hour ago, it's up to 50%. So it should really be out to everyone very, very soon here. So as other mentions in the chat, there's a little lightning bolt within your prompt, and that'll essentially allow you to access the fast mode here. So yeah, keep an eye out for that. It'll be out here very, very soon.
And I don't have access to it. I don't see it on mine. Oh, actually, wait a minute. Okay, let's see here. I'm looking through it. It says I see the announcement, but I don't see the option yet. Okay, so it's not available for me yet, and it may, I think by the end of the stream it probably will be available for me, so we may get to try it out live. Okay, somebody's asking about referral code. Yep, could drop that as well. Amy's trying out fast mode already. Awesome, Amy. So you got access to it. That's great. That's rolling out like right now as we speak. Amy says Replit makes it so fun and easy to build. I think so. I think it's like it's just so much fun. Again, I'll go on a 5-hour build binge, and it's just it's so cool. Like you can just create like it's like it almost feels like the hard part is actually figuring out what to create, because when you can build almost anything, like the question is what do you build? And so there's just like, whether that's a personal website, whether that's a tool, now we're doing automations and agents, like there's so much you can do now. So yeah, absolutely. Okay, so so I want to show you a couple more things that I think would be helpful. So if we go back here to the build, there's a couple of things that I wanted to show you. So um, if you click here on the upper right hand part of the preview pane, you're gonna get a drop down, and then you're gonna get a link here. This is the way that your application would look like out in the wild. So this is my building environment. So I have access to the agent and the files and the tools. But if you wanted to see what this would look like for someone that's using this coming to your website, this is what you can click on. The other really neat thing about this is that this is a live working publicly shareable URL. So I do a couple of things. Like if I'm building something for someone, I will send them this developing URL and they can access it and they can tell me what's working before I ship it to production. The other cool thing that you can do here is you can scan this into your phone and see what this looks like on your phone. So we want everything to be mobile optimized. Well, this is a great way for you to test it manually. The other thing that I do is rather than going to my phone, I actually change the screen size here in Replit and look at all these different options. Okay, so if I have like the standard edition, here's what this would look like on the iPhone standard edition. If I wanted to go with the 17 Pro, I can see that too. So this is pretty handy. I use this quite a bit because a lot of your traffic for any app is going to be web-based. So it's important to see at least what they're going to see and what the experience looks like for them. And this makes it easy to do that. And if you want to go back to full size, no problem. You can go back to full size there as well. Other things that I wanted to cover here, we talked about plan mode. We talked about, we didn't talk about this. Okay, this is working, but I do want to show you something when we do get to, maybe I can show that to you in the, this here. Okay, so we're back here in our app. The flashing's gone down a little bit, much more manageable. But say I wanted to change something on this UI, I can go to, I don't have it here. Oh, fast disabled. Interesting. Oh, so here's fast mode in design mode. Okay, got it. So it looks like fast mode is in design mode. So let's recap that. Again, this is they're shipping as we're live here. So you go to design mode and then you start designing, and then in design mode, you'll get that fast mode option here enabled. Got it. Okay, and it's 5x faster, but it's only in design mode. Okay, got it. Very neat. Okay, so that's important to note. I'm gonna wait for this actually, and I'm gonna show you the feature that I'm looking at, which is the modify a specific element. So if I wanted to change the text here, instead of going to agent and asking the agent to change that, I can go into the modify specific element option, click on that and change the text. And I'll show you that in a bit. The other thing that I want to show you here is the progress that agent is making. So that, it's a pretty tall ask. What I asked of agent is to generate all these images and create a new grid. So it's got to change the front end and the back end. And you can see all of the things that it has to do in order to complete this. So it started with 7 tasks. So it'll complete the task, and then it has another agent that reviews its own work, which I think is really cool. And so it's going through all of these and it's completing them, piece by piece. And I think it's just helpful to see this, just kind of to show you what it's doing. The other thing that it's doing right here, which is pretty neat as well, is that it is spinning up its own web browser, and agent is actually trying to test out my application. So it's going to hover around. You can see it here, like hover around and try to upload an image and see if it works. This is not going to work so well for our use case because I have the image on my local machine, so it doesn't have access to that. But actually, look, it generated its own image. Isn't that so cool? That's wild. So it didn't have access to an image, so I was like, all right, I'll just generate it myself. That's so cool. And so I think we can skip like you can watch this and you can watch the replay. I think it's really cool, but it's essentially Agent creating its own browser and testing it for me. But I can always skip it too, so I can skip test here just to help accelerate things. And so Agent is almost done with that, and then we'll see what Agent has for us. Again, I don't expect it to be perfect. You know, these types of features are kind of complicated. I expect an error, and if we get an error, no problem. We'll just reprompt Agent to help fix that error. So while that's cooking just a little bit longer, 7 out of 7 here. We'll see if there are any other comments here to tackle. I am too fast mode is on fire. Okay, people are liking fast mode already. That's crazy. It just dropped. Awesome. I have already built my feed and marketplace. Okay, cool. Let's post it on X and LinkedIn, Amy. I'd love to see it. Can it create a website? Please show examples. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, fast mode and design mode are built for websites. You saw my tweet. Check out my tweet. These are all different examples. If you want the specific prompts for any one of these builds, let me know. I could just share them with you, and I probably will share them a little bit later. But you can just drop that that prompt into design mode, and you'll get a very similar output. But yeah, it's really good at generating websites, so definitely check that out. Okay, cool. So it looks like we're done here. So let's actually go to the full example here, and then let's pick our image of our merch, and then let's do person, male, 18 to 24, the key demographic, as they say. And then we got to make it cool or hip. Let's do cool. And then let's generate variations. Okay, so now you see it's doing the grid thing now. Okay. Again, that's a pretty complicated build. You know, I expect to get some errors here for it not to be perfect, but let's see what we get here. Now, as that's working, as I mentioned, okay, this is cool. All right. Wow. Okay. That's very neat. Let's zoom in a little bit there. Build mode. And again, male, young demographic, and pretty cool. Okay, so what if we change it to luxury? Let's go that, and let's change that there. And then on person, let's see what we get there. So, all right, so that worked. That's awesome. So that's a pretty significant upgrade to my application now. Now, if I envision it, eventually, like maybe I want to give access to a user to this, and I could say like, okay, like, you're gonna pay me like $20 a month to have access to my application, and you're gonna be able to generate like X amount of images on all of your ads, and you can download them and pick the ones that you want, or you might pay by the by the ad, by the one that you ultimately okay, and then you can generate all of these images. But look at this. This is very cool. Let's see, standalone. And again, there's some bugs to fix, because if it's standalone, I shouldn't need, well, actually, that's not correct, because maybe like it's setting the backdrop of like for this demographic. So like it's going to be different for each gender and different groups. So let's go here. Let's do standalone, and let's do casual. Let's do luxury, and let's see what we get there. But already, pretty neat upgrade here. Okay, so I wanted to show you the inspect object. So if we go here to edit, and I click on, and so I click the edit mode, and I click on this. Now I can change this text here. So I can say Manny's super cool ad generator app. And then if I click on save changes, it'll update the code so that now is the new UI. So if I go back here, you can see now that it's Manny's super cool generator app. So typically for me, there are two different changes that I'm making, like simple ones like that, text, in which case I'll use the edit mode, and then heavy duty features like the one that you just saw me roll out, the different variations, where I'll use the plan mode feature there as well. But I wanted to show you that because that's super helpful. Because otherwise, I mean, the other way you could do it is you could go into agent, and you can say like, hey, like, can you change the way I was doing it? I would screenshot this. I would take a screenshot this. I would say like, okay, here's, can you, and I would talk to, can you change this header so that it says like XYZ, blah, blah, and then have agent change it. But now with that new tool, I just click it, change it, and I'm done. It's so much faster. Okay. So yeah, somebody said, thank you for the stream. Somebody said, thank you for the stream. They're off the build. Yes. Go and build. That's, I think, I still want to show you a couple more things, but before you go, I think again, like this is your turn. Like you learn by doing. So like you saw me kind of walk through all, like I've just put together like my essential process for doing all the stuff that I've done. You saw on my website what I do. This is pretty much the process that I follow. Now it's your turn. Like you got to learn this by doing. So go on to Replit. You can do the free account. You get a lot of credits with that. Try to follow along what I did or build your own thing, explore, experiment. And I would love for you to get to something that's deployed, super easy to do. I'll show you how to do that in just a bit. And then I want you to share it, like share it on X, share it on LinkedIn. Like, hey, built my first app with AI. Here's what it does. Here's what I learned. Explain to people what you did and what you learned. Love to see that. Tag me, tag Francisco, and then I think when these hats come in, we're gonna give we're gonna give a couple of these away. And I think I've decided that I'm not going to sell this hat. I think this hat has to be earned. So I originally was going to create a merch store and have people buy this, but I think that this is going to be an earned thing, and it's going to be earned by folks that are building with AI and are showcasing their work and are putting it on X and LinkedIn and tagging us. So if you've got something that you've built that's really interesting, that's leveraging some of the stuff that we've been talking about, definitely do that, and you might get one of these hats that again are not for sale. You got to earn this hat. So good luck to I forget who said that, but go and build. And if you build something, make sure you share it online and you tag me. Okay. Very neat. So I think we have our working prototype. I covered some of the big things. Like I have to cover rollbacks. Okay, this is essential. Okay, I'm sorry. We still have 10 more minutes to hit my goal of having a working deployed app in less than 90 minutes. This is important. If agent ever makes a mistake, no problem, because you have this really cool feature called rollback. I think of this as a Control Z. So let me zoom in on that, and let me highlight that. It's right there. This is like one of my favorite things about Replit. Again, it's like Control Z. Like if you're like typing something, you make a mistake, you just do Control Z and it undoes it. Well, this is for vibe coding. Sometimes like I'm building something, or I ask Replit to build the wrong thing, or Replit goes down a rabbit hole and I don't like it. Okay, I can always go back to a previous version and roll back to that version, and it takes everything back to that point in time, the code, the database, the UI, the backend, everything, and I just start from scratch. So sometimes, if I'm running into problems, I'm like, oh, like this is like, okay, this has gone too hairy. I just go back to a previous version, and it's pretty easy. You just go click on that rollback, and it sends you back to that particular to that point in time. Super handy. Oh my gosh, that has saved my butt a couple of times. I just wanted to make sure to definitely highlight that. So we talked about rollback, previews, sharing, files, panes, tools. I got to tell you about tools. The great thing about Replit is that it's super beginner friendly, but it's also a tool that will grow with you as you get more experience, more familiarity, more comfortable with code. So if as you start building new features, you can go into this tools tab and look for various things. So like, for example, a database. Like you might want to persist these images over time. So if you have new users and each of them have their own images, you'll create a database to do that. like, if you don't have this, you'd have to configure this yourself. Replit makes it super easy to do this. If you want to integrate a new AI tool that's not part of the AI integrations option, you can go and grab that API and create a new secret. So it would be like, you can see it right here. It'd be like OpenAI key, for example. Drop that in, and then it's automatically gonna get be made available to your builder in the very safe and secure way. And the other one here is around integrations. So if you want to integrate different tools, we've been talking about that. We have previous streams on that. You can look at that as well. If you have, like, if you're looking for something, it's probably here in the tools tab. You can just type here and you have like all these great things that you can do. Okay, so bringing us home. So now, again, it's great. This seems to be working. I'm happy with it. Now I want to share it with the world. So I want to publish this. So there's a couple things that I want to do first. First, I want to do a security scanner. So really neat thing is that Replit will scan all of my files and my application for potential security vulnerabilities. And for me, as someone that's new to coding and vibe coding, this is really, really important. This is also a new feature that just dropped. It's a privacy scan. So it's going to look for information that might be sensitive that's being sent out. So here it's saying like, hey, this is a privacy risk, sexual orientation, going to Google GenAI. That I think I'm okay with. That's part of the application. But you can see here that I have a dependency that is a potential vulnerability. I would fix this right now if I had a little bit more time, but I want to close this out. So I won't fix it yet, but what you can do is you can hit on fix with agent, and it'll pop into a new conversation here, and it'll start trying to fix that for you. And so what's great about this is that, again, it scans your application for security issues, and then it actually will help you fix that as well. And again, for me, that's someone new to that's new to coding, this is really, really clutch for me. Okay, so that's going to start working. I want to show you the final step here because I want to deploy this. This is something that I built earlier today in the morning, and this is the exact same thing we were building. So let me bring this up here, and it's gonna spin up in the meantime. All right, so this app here, let me close this out. Okay, so maybe that'll get fixed in time, but if not, okay. So this is the same. I built this morning, just testing everything out. And again, you get the hat, and we'll get the, and then here I did add the brand colors. So generate advertisement, and that should work. Now, I wanted to be able to deploy this. So what I'll go to my a new tools tab and type in publishing. So type that, and you can see that I've already deployed this, but let me shut down this deployment to show you how it works from scratch. So let me unpublish that. And then now if I'll go through the same process again. So again, publishing tab. And then now here is, what you would see if this wasn't deployed for you. So I can come up with my own custom URL. So I can say like add creator demo, and then it's available. Good. And then I want to make it public, and then I want to publish it. And the great thing about Replit is that it's really easy to go from application that you're developing here to something that is deployed. A lot of other tools have challenges with this, where like what you build in development, it's like a whole translation process to actually ship it to production. I found like 95% of the time Replit has no problems, which is great because then I know what people are going to get when I actually deploy an application. They're going to get what I have been building in my development environment. And so you're seeing here that it's setting this up. It's doing everything that it has to do. And this application should be live in like a minute or so. In the meantime, I'm checking back here on Agent and it's still trying to fix the security issue. No problem. I'll let Agent take its time with that to solve that security issue. Okay. In the meantime, let me take some questions here. Security scanner is a very cool feature. Yes, very, very cool. And it does not consume any credits. No, it's one of those nice things that Replit automatically throws in to your Replit account. So definitely take advantage of that. All right, so here in the final stretch, folks, here it is. Here is our app. It is live. So let me drop it in the chat and test it out. Like, you should be able to drop in an image of merch and then decide what configuration you want. You could do different color schemes, and then you can generate those images. The other cool thing about Replit is that you can also set up your own domain. So here, like if you go into buy a new domain, it helps you automatically search to see which domains are available. And you can click on, make that a bit bigger. Okay, this is available. All right. And then you can put in your details, and it's like 2 more steps, and boom, you have an app that is tied to your own domain. That's so cool. Like, again, like, what I like about Replit is that I would have to have done this myself. I'd have to go to a different platform and buy the domain and then set up the DNS configuration, all that. But Replit's put it all here in the platform, and I just love that. It's making it so much easier for me to go from app to idea. Okay, so yeah, I'm curious. Like, click on the app. Let me know if it works for you, and then let me know. I'd love to hear any questions that you might have.
Yeah, one of the questions that we're seeing here is like payment processor platform. So can you like launch a business? Can you actually like charge folks for any services? Yeah, love to hear a little summary on there.
Yes, we'll give you a preview. We have some integrations that are coming down the pipe that will make this a lot easier in Replit. I don't know if we can say anything more than that.
it might be launched later today or tomorrow, but very, very soon. It'll be like the easiest way to integrate ever. A huge shout out to our ambassadors who helped test it. But yeah, it's coming very soon. For all I know, before the end of the stream, we're going to see it in the chat again, but something is coming very, very soon.
Yes, I think so. What I wanted to target for this stream is like a beginner level introduction to Replit, like 0 to 1, your first app in 90 minutes. And we just made it. We're here at the 90-minute mark. We just made it. And I want to put this into context. A year ago, if you wanted to do something like this, you probably have to go on to some freelancing website. If you're a non-technical person, you'd probably have to pay like $5,000 for this prototype. And it would probably be like 5 weeks. We just did that in 90 minutes, and this probably cost me $10, I would guess. I mean, the credits for Google Gemini are going to cost me more because you guys are all like generating the images. But again, like a year ago, 5 weeks, probably $5,000. Today, 90 minutes, less than $10. And it's so much fun, and it's so much faster. And you get to do it yourself, and you get to customize it exactly to what you want. That's just like bonkers to me. That's so amazing. Okay, yeah. Thank you. Isn't that like, I think, especially for me, like, I'm like doing this every day. I'm like, oh, this is great. Like, oh, I would love to have this done in 5 minutes rather than 10 minutes. But then I think about like, what was I doing a year ago? Like that, there's no way I'm doing any of this a year ago, like, and especially now, like having this much fun. So I like have to just, it's just helpful for me to like have that context. Um, One other thing that I did want to mention. So the idea behind this stream is let's take someone brand new, no technical background, never has touched a line of code. Let's walk them through the entire process of building out their own application. But I think I've also been getting questions around more complicated features, like the one that just came up around payments. So we did this, did this, and then and so the other ones that I think later on that we can cover, Francisco, like in a more like intermediate, I guess, stream, I would cover databases because that's really important. So as I mentioned, you might want to persist the images that you generate, and you might want to differentiate between different accounts. So we will tackle that. Authentication. So if I want to give different users their own username and password and have them manage that in a professional way so that they can log into my application, reset passwords, things like that. We can cover that. User profiles, like if I want to give different users different tiers. So I might say like I have 3 options that you can buy in the app, like free, like paid, and like premium. And then also payments. Like I know payments is a big deal for folks, and people are already integrating payments into Replit now, and we're gonna make this a lot easier. So I think it would be really cool, Francisco, if we could do like an intermediate stream and have it be like, okay, like 0 to 1, we did a prototype, but now 0 to 1 to a paid application, SaaS application that could potentially generate money for you. I think that would be really cool. So like 90 minutes, let's go from where we ended this stream and try to take that and try to launch a SaaS application off of that has authentication, has the database stuff, has all the security stuff, has payment integrations, has email notifications. I think that would be really cool. I'd love to hear from the chat what you think about that.
Yeah, absolutely. I think one of the questions as well is it would be maybe great, Manny, to go over kind of the autonomy slider and planning mode. I know there's a lot of
Oh yeah.
questions around like cost and things like that. So maybe if you could do a quick overview before we jump off on like how that works. I think one of the things that people sometimes don't realize is there's a planning mode that makes it so much easier to essentially put in everything you want within the app you're trying to create or project you're trying to create, which can like dramatically reduce the cost of how much it is to kind of publish and everything else. So maybe going over autonomy slider a little bit and some of like the basics there.
Yes. So the question is, how do you efficiently build with AI? As I mentioned, definitely spend time in plan mode because, if you don't go into plan mode, what could happen? Well, you can go back and forth with agent, and agent can be making changes for each one of those cycles. So if you go back and forth like 5 times, agent has to update a whole bunch of code and has to take into consideration a lot more context, a lot more tokens. That's more expensive for you. And also, it may not be agent's fault. It might be your fault as a new user. You don't know what you want. Oftentimes, I don't know what I want. And so, number one tip here is to spend a lot more time in plan mode and really nail down what you want with agent and make sure agent has a clear plan and you both are on the same page with agent, and then go. Number 2 tip that I have for being efficient is around toggling different autonomy modes. So let me see here. Where is this? Let me go back here. Okay, agent tools. If for example, like I have app testing on, you can opt not to have that test. In my build, I don't know if it, I test it. I'm here. I can test it myself. I can save some tokens there. If I was away, I would leave that on. You can also toggle the autonomy level. So if you want something, want agent to really like quickly look at the task and generate it as fast as possible, then you can go low and you can review it. If you want it to review the code changes, fix any issues, test it, you can do that. And then so on and so on until you get to max. Where like it just goes like it could go for like an hour or 2 working on the problem. There's other options here around going to high powered mode. So if you have a really tough problem, you can turn that on. That's off by default. And then there's other like options here around media generation and web search. I would leave these on. You can maybe get away with taking off media generation, but web search you definitely want on. And so the way I think about it is like, if I'm going to be here on my machine and I'm going to be monitoring what agent is doing, then I might go low and just like follow the chat and kind of go back and forth with agent. If I'm going to walk away for a couple of hours, maybe I'm going to hit the gym, I'll crank it up to max and leave high power mode off and just leave everything else on and leave app testing on and just say go. And then when I come back, expecting for agent to have made really good progress. So those would be my tidbits. This is a tool, and like any tool, there are different ways to be efficient with the tool. Again, spend a lot of time in plan mode. Make sure you know exactly what you want. Make sure the agent understands what you want, and then consider toggling some of these. Medium is my sweet spot. Like I like medium. It's like the right amount of like autonomy and interaction on my part. And those would be some of the tidbits that I would give you. And again, like, even for me, like, again, I like to put this into context. Like, again, like a year ago, if you're a non-technical person and I've sourced websites and applications from like freelancing services, it's a couple $1,000s for something like this, like easy, and many weeks. And so I also try to put into context, like, okay, if this cost me like $100, like versus a year ago, it's still a screaming deal. But these are some tidbits and in terms of how to be more efficient with your usage as well.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing. Yeah, it looks like comments are slowing down. Looks like folks are jumping off. I know we ran a little bit longer than expected, everybody, but a huge thanks for everyone that stuck around. I saw a lot of folks here. Cyber Monday, Melissa, Troy Jam, who else here? Kiran as well, Akuza. Thank you so much for sticking around. I see a lot of familiar faces as well that are kind of just coming back around. And again, for anyone that kind of like is joining just now, we went over through kind of a little bit of an overview of how to use and how to build one of your first apps with AI. There's also like fast mode got released in the middle of our stream. So more to come on that soon. I would check out the blog post. There's a lot more there. And again, you would definitely highly recommend trying it out while it's free. Just kind of test it out, see what it's like. And then again, a lot of great suggestions from everybody about what to do next. So I think we're gonna continue to alternate, right? Where it's like deeper dives as we've done in the past within a specific tool, a little bit more general for folks who are kind of just tuning in for the first time or really trying to get started. And again, we're always looking to kind of improve. So please continue dropping your feedback, your questions, everything else in between. It's been just fantastic to be able to work with you all today and just kind of learn together. So again, thank you so much.
Yeah, I'm seeing some great comments here around the 0 to 1 SaaS paid session. I mean, I think we'll do it for free. We're not going to charge you for this, I don't think. Oh, but you mean like it's a paid SaaS application that we're launching? Yes, that makes more sense. Yes, I think that would be. I think that'd be really cool. I would be interested in that. In doing that. So, maybe like later on this year or next year, Francisco. To Francisco's point, like there's a lot for us to cover. This Replit team is shipping so fast, and we're also thinking about moving this to twice a week, Francisco, right? Like,
yep, there's rumors. Yeah, we're having some very special folks potentially join us here and be able to do a little bit more. So yeah, we're hoping to kind of, again, we're learning along as we go. I think that we've learned so much from folks who kind of just want to get together and just build a little bit of everything. Other folks who just want to learn like some of like deeper dives on a specific feature or examples. We recently did a HubSpot integration, Salesforce integration, so a little bit of both. So yeah, we're actually hoping to expand this to twice a week moving forward. And yeah, so I'm very excited for that as well.
Yeah, people are really pumped about the intermediate session. Yeah, I think and that's something that we definitely want to do. Perfect. And then we'll have like an intermediate and maybe an advanced session. Okay, cool. Very neat. Anything else, Francisco? Anything else we want to cover before we log off? Any other questions from the chat? What did you guys think of the session? This was a new thing for us. Like, I'll be honest with you. One of the tough things about doing these types of live workshops is that, agent sometimes takes a while to complete tasks. And these are hard, complicated tasks that agent is doing. But I also am mindful of your time and your attention. And so, my viewpoint here was like, hey, I'm going to show you exactly what I would do 0 to 1 in building one of these apps. And I want you to see everything. Like you're just like here with me building. And as a result, this ran a little bit longer, I think, than our other. This is probably our longest stream to date. But I also think it's helpful for some of you to see the full end-to-end process here, and for me to just take some time showing you everything that I've learned in building it with Replit Agent over the last year in 90 minutes. So you tell us, like, is this a format that works, or should we just go back to like, demos and me just showing you exactly what I built? I mean, we'll do some of that because, we have some things that we want to show you, but I think we also think that this is helpful, just doing like long streams and just showing you everything.
Yeah. One question I've gotten quite a bit. I wish I knew the answer. People are asking me like, hey, how long is the free fast mode going to last for? I'm actually not too sure. I wasn't aware that we were going to push it out live at this moment. So there was actually a lot of back and forth internally. Like, can we do it? Like, I'm not too sure. And like, so obviously we did. I conservatively would say I think it's until the end of the month. So definitely check it out. But it might be a little bit shorter. Again, love to hear your feedback. We'll be coming back around after the Thanksgiving break. So next week, we'll be taking a break, and after that, we'll be coming back around. One other great question from Claron. Do you have the Nothing headphones on? I do, and they're absolutely fantastic. I'm so sorry. I'm a big audio person. I've been using the Bose headphones for a very long time, and these are just absolutely great. Highly recommend them. But I'm not going to dig into that anymore. But yes, it was so great to see everybody. And again, yeah, let us know what you want to see. We're here, and we want to do a lot more of these moving forward.
Awesome. All right. This was fun. Anything else before we sign off, Francisco?
No, I think the last thing I'm going to do is we're going to send out an email with the live stream recording link, so you're able to kind of check out if you missed any part of it. Let us know. And then the second thing is I'll be also dropping in like a Luma calendar. That is the best way to find out about what's coming up for live streams, what's coming up for in-person events around the world, like everything in between. Definitely recommend doing that. And then if not this week, for the next session, I'll have a little bit more like public information about the ambassador program. Right now, it's invitation only. A couple of folks of you reach out to me. Find me on LinkedIn. Let me know you're interested. I got a couple of emails during the stream as well. I'll be getting back to folks probably early next week as we kind of curate our next batch. But a lot more information to come on that soon. It's a great way to kind of get involved, get closer to us. And we'll also send out the Discourse link. So if you want to kind of get together with other builders and build together and just like be in a productive environment, the Discourse is amazing. Eric is one of our very helpful moderators. Steve as well is always in there. Thank you so much all for joining. And yeah, more information to come very soon.
Definitely check out the Discord. One of the nice things about Replit, we have an awesome community of like people that are very technical and very generous with their time, but also people that are just starting off that are also just eager to share, like a great group of people. It's one of the things that I really love about Replit, just like a really awesome community. Yeah. So definitely go check that out.
Awesome. We'll see everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll be back soon. Yeah, we'll talk very soon. Thank you, everybody.